Well, welcome. We have Marsau and LaTisha Scott, the Scotts in the house. And I'm
Amen.
so happy you guys joined us. Thank you. I know you guys are so busy and to take the time out to be here on Marriage Business Mondays
There
Yes.
we
warms
go.
my whole heart and soul because we're all about marriages and, building dynasties the Fortune 500 way. That's what other
Right.
way we do it. So we know that you guys are building your dynasty the Fortune 500 way. And who else would we want to have on the show? Somebody who's out here doing this dynasty building and also managing a successful marriage. So I'm just so happy to have you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having me.
We appreciate
I'm
that.
honored to be on.
Yeah, and the topic
Absolutely.
of marriage and business, like
Yeah.
that's our cup of tea. So we're here for it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Okay, so let's get right into it. So I want to ask you, I guess the first question I want to ask you guys is, what inspired you to share your marriage journey on reality TV? And, how has sharing this journey on reality TV impacted your relationship?
Hmm.
I'll let you go, Marcel.
Well, I think that this is a good question. Honestly, when we got the show, I thought it was going to be about construction.
Real estate. We
I
thought it
think,
was gonna be about
yeah,
real estate.
I like to be about construction, and so at that point right there, I didn't think we were sharing our marriage on television. I thought we were sharing our business on television.
Mm-hmm.
You know, business is something I was good at the time. Like business is something I thought I could. I mean, I was probably good enough to teach other people. You know, not marriage. Marriage wasn't something I was good enough to teach other people. You know, so I think that's been there, and I think the challenge. I think marriage is a challenge in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just learning someone, meshing two different personalities and growing. Now, once you do that in prime time, and once you do that in a live stage, and now you have to deal with the phenomenon of comments and people. Being on TV turns into a looking glass self, and I'd hate for anyone to sit back and lie and say, "Oh, I don't let the comments bother me. I don't read them. I don't do." That's a lie. That's a lie. Everybody reads comments. I'm talking about from the successful people to the non-successful people. It's called feedback. Obama reads comments. The White House reads comments. Trump. Everybody in reality. God don't like blasphemy. That's the comments. You know what I'm saying? So it does, and the challenge is to not allow that to enter into your marriage and be a factor. But I think the challenge of it is, dealing with other opinions and dealing, and, is battling the edited character you are on a show with, the full person that you are in your real life.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead,
And
Tish.
and I was gonna say, like, the good thing for us is that we had a strong foundation before reality TV. So I think that played a major part too in our marriage. Just really making sure you have that solid and strong foundation in the very beginning before you're allowed the cameras to come in, because you get so many opinions about your marriage and about you and your businesses. So that foundation is extremely important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think.
people are seeing that little tiny snippet and got so much to say about
Right.
all of it you guys are doing on a daily. You guys are doing this marriage thing 24 hours a day, and they coming in filming for an hour or two,
Right.
and people they're blowing up that one moment of time. And I'm sure they're cutting out all the great things in the marriage
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
because
Because they
that's
have
not
to
because
entertain
that's
you,
not
right? It's
messy
about,
enough. They
yeah,
don't
it
want
has to
that.
be
We want the messy.
entertaining.
Well, I think that's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is knowing that I said that, but not like that, or we
Mhm.
said that, but
Right.
not like that. And it's really if you care, and you have to put. What I had to learn with TV and marriage is that I have to look at television, look at what people see, and say, hey, you know what? That character, that's Marcel, that character, that's Tisha. I understand how you feel in that character. I mean, at times, Michael Keaton played Batman,
Right.
but he's not Batman. And Batman's not a real person, you know? And so once you edit a person and take half of what they said and different things and just different actions that they're really distorting that individual.
That's so true. Right. Well, I want to go back to something that you started with, Marcel, and that was the whole idea of highlighting the business, the construction
Mhm.
piece, the real estate business. That's what you guys do, and I think that's what you originally thought the show was going to be about. So let's talk a little bit. First of all, you guys have been married how long?
Going on 18 years. This year be 18 years in September.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all got married in September. My birthday. What day?
September
Second.
2nd.
9/2.
Okay. Okay. My
What's
birthday.
your birthday?
The 18th.
Okay.
Virgo.
Virgo.
Virgo, yes. So, okay. So, you guys, my question for you guys is, 18 years in the marriage. And I'm just thinking about my own marriage. We've been married 24 years in August.
Uh-oh, go ahead.
Hey. And let me tell you, about 18 of them was rough. So,
Okay.
and I mean, we really started thinking about our marriage from in a business perspective, probably in the last 6 years. So that's why I said 18, and managing our marriage like we manage our business. And it's been game changers. So what I'd like to know from you guys is running successful businesses, not just the construction and real estate business. You guys have black, is it black?
Black
Black, you
government.
have other businesses, not just those. You have the nonprofit. You guys have a lot of things going on. Did you guys at some point decide, we do this business thing really well because we're capitalizing on it. We're seeing, returns in our investment. We're opening another business. We've learned some things along the way in this business to contribute to this business and maybe even to the nonprofit. When did you guys also say, let's take some of these practices that are working in the business and maybe implement them in our marriage? Or have you guys started doing that yet? And if not, you can get the book, because that's what the book is all about.
Yes.
Well, we probably need the book.
We have the book.
Yeah, we probably. Oh, that's okay.
We need to read the book.
Yeah, we're going to read the book and do some homework on that.
It's a lot of homework now, Marsau, but it's so good. Each chapter has working sessions.
Yeah.
So
I like that. That keeps us engaged. And I'll tell you, what's funny is that I told Tisha, first of all, I told people this a lot of times. People say, well, marriage is a business. I say, well, if marriage was a business, the truth is, if marriage was a business, um, for most marriages, it would be a failing business because it's not ran like a business. Okay. It's not ran because in business, you have simple. You have, buyer seller consideration. You have expectations. You have deadlines. You have a healthy anxiety. It's okay to come in and say, hey, this didn't get done. I was expecting this to get done. Is there a reason why you didn't get this done? In the future, going forward, can you make sure you get this done? Those are fair conversations. I don't think those fare well. No, they might work from wife to husband, but they don't work well from husband to wife. So, so, but no, I mean, I agree. I think there's ways you can choose to run your marriage like a business, and going forward, we was kind of making a joke in our group chat a couple months ago. I said, what if a marriage had? I think a marriage should have an operating agreement. I mean, with like real clauses.
and then Tish would have to decide if she's going to renew your contract every year.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, that's what
Like, let me see if you met your metrics, Marsau, because you might not get renewed this year.
Well, I mean, it's certain things. It's certain things like this. Like, what if you said in your marriage in the beginning, you said, hey, you know what? You have this before you got married. Hey, you got this job now. I've got this job now. All right. Life can sometimes happen. I understand you could lose this job. If there is a situation in which you lose your job through your fault or no fault of your own, whatever, and if you don't get a position within 80% of your income within 6 months, and you're experiencing this right here, then you'll agree to go to counsel, you'll agree to do this, you'll agree to take a trade. I mean, whatever things that you've been married 24 years, I've been married 18 years almost. And so whatever things that you see that you can say, hey, listen, you need to have a contingency plan for when this happens. What if you had a this is not just for me, or this is not for her, but I'm saying, like, what if you had a weight gain policy? What if you said, hey, listen, I hear you, but what if you had something in there?
Policy. Oh, Lord.
Like you're
She
divorceable if you
said obey
gave fifty
gang
No,
pounds.
no,
policy.
not divorceable. That's not a divorceable thing. But it says you agreed to stay in
But
the
you're right.
gym.
Some employers say, look at here. I mean,
For
the
certain
executives at the
jobs.
bank, they have to, get their physicals every
Yeah,
year.
you have to look a certain
You have
way.
to look a certain way. I
We
mean,
look at succession planning, and if your health
Yeah,
ain't good, you ain't gonna be in the succession plan because
I mean,
that's true.
I'm saying like these are things right now that if you're not looking at it as like a rule book, but you're looking at it and say, hey, remember when we agreed to this? This was the agreement. Hey, you're approaching 40 pounds more than you did. You agreed to walk, to take care of your body, for your health, for your kids, for my attraction. These things seem like they'd be fair.
right,
Um,
right.
and I think it would be good if you actually did go into a marriage looking at it as like a business. Especially because your marriage certificate is a contract. Like you're signing this marriage certificate, which is a contract. But I had no idea when I first got married at 24 years old what 5 years will look like down the line or 10 years will look like down the line. And I do feel like that is something that couples should look at when they first decide that they want to get married.
I mean,
Absolutely.
knowing those
Absolutely.
things are
We
going to
were
exist.
24 when we got married as well.
Yep.
And your babies, you have no
No
clue.
idea.
I mean, I'm
Well,
looking at my child now. I'm like, my child at 24, I can't even imagine a child getting married. Like, you have no
right,
maturity. Like, but in
right.
my mind at 24, I was so mature and so ready.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
you're right, Tish. We're totally different at 24 than who I am about to be 50.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I am totally different, but which is why I love the idea of you and you guys talked about it. Marriage is a contract. And if you have just some alignment, like core values. So the book is,
Hmm.
Marcel, core values, what's your mission? What's your vision, goals, objectives?
Hmm.
Do we have some measurement and metrics in place to your point now? I don't necessarily say I'm not going to renew my husband's contract each from year to year, but I do say, look, there are some metrics. And for us, like we talk about in the book, being a helpmate or dad weight. I'm either a helpmate, helping you, inspiring you, moving you along, giving you wings, or I'm a dead weight. I'm dragging you along, trying to help you see my vision, helping you buy in. And you guys know that can get so tiresome to be trying to constantly have somebody buy into your thoughts and your ideas of what things should look like and be like, for your relationship. And so we talk about that, but and then kind of going back to this whole strategy in the marriage, like the business, do you guys talk about like priorities and vision and a strategy for the marriage in alignment with the business, or do you try to keep, because you are so tied to each other, because you work together, you're building this dynasty together, do you try to keep the marriage and the business at bay, kind of separated, so that you kind of have that boundaries?
No, no. You know what? What really got us to thinking about the marriage and the business is really when we start, um, when we got a family trust. And
Mm,
once we got a family trust, that's when we start having to take a look at the different businesses. Actually, I'll go a step further. It's like even a conversation we had a couple of days ago. And so I'm a general contractor by trade. So
mm-hmm.
I'm the actual builder of like
Okay.
the apartments, hotels, whatever. All right, and now residential. Tisha's the developer, right? And so she's the developer. And she went to school. She got her master's degree in commercial real estate development, and so she's on the development side. So how we interface when they say we work together, we really work together as Tisha comes in and says, "Hey, we want to develop this plot of land." We
Mm,
both may acquire the land, but now she's the face of the marketing, the pro forma, the property metrics. How's this going to work out? And I'm the coming in, the cost of the building, and you just putting in the infrastructure and actually doing that work right there. And so we just got into a residential house the other day, and we had questions about we just had a discussion, say, hey, how's this working? Because it looks like you're promoting Scope, but we're promoting, Scott Development. And so we was like, well, you know what? Because this is a development and we're the owners of it, then you're promoting this and I'm promoting that. So it's fun to see how this thing that we have, where it's really who's driving at what time. So sometimes she's the driver and I'm the passenger. Sometimes I'm the driver, she's the passenger. But it's not a we're not a both hands on the wheel kind of couple.
I love that. I love that because, it's leveraging Tisha's strengths
Hmm.
and your strengths, and also, and we do a SWOT analysis, by the way, in the book. But I love that because that's what you guys are doing. So like, if I do a SWOT analysis and I know my husband's weaknesses is, managing money. I'm being facetious because he's a banker, so that's not his weakness. But you know if I know that, then I can say, okay, well, that's a strength of mine. So let me leverage my strength in that to offset your weakness. So I love the fact that that's exactly what you guys are doing. You just
Hmm.
said it. You're taking a hand off the wheel. That's Tisha's strength. That's not
Yeah.
Marsau's strength. So Tish, you run this. Marceau, you run this. I love that because I think the dynamics of a good marriage, one is being able to identify what's our strengths, weaknesses,
Right.
opportunities, and threats,
Hmm.
and two, if you don't know what they are, how can you leverage them
Right.
or overcome the weaknesses or the threats if you haven't even identified them, to
Right.
work, to create a plan to work against that, to combat that.
Hmm.
So I love that. And I can't wait for you guys to do the book, because what you do in each chapter is the working sessions. You walk away with your business plan, your marriage plan.
Hmm.
So each section is the mission, the vision, the goals, the all of that. The communication strategy. Each chapter is that, and you do the working session. So when you finish the book, you have your marriage
I like
business
that.
plan. So
Really.
I love that you're already doing that. So for you guys, it would be the book is easy for you guys because a lot of it you're like, you'll probably say, we're doing this already. We could have wrote the book. A lot of this we're doing already. So as we're talking about strengths, I have a question for you, and that is, so can you guys tell me about an experience or a moment where um your marriage, where you had like a memorable moment in your marriage, that you feel like that moment, that situation really was an opportunity for you guys to strengthen your bond, to strengthen your marriage bond, because you went through that together? It may be some of this reality TV stuff, I don't know, but I'm sure you guys have, over the 18 years, you probably say this moment right here, because we went through that, it made us so much stronger and it strengthened our bond.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about maybe a moment like that?
Yeah, I would absolutely say the reality TV show, because one of the things we said is that our marriage has never been tested before. And
Mm,
so this show really did test our marriage. When you're coming against allegations, you're coming against haters, you're coming against people want to, like, really want your marriage to fail. And so at that point, you're like, oh, it's like us against the world, for real. It's like us against everybody. And so when your back is against the wall, it really did strengthen our bond and our love for one another. It's like, hey, if nobody else is going to have us, we got each other.
that's right. Mm,
I think it's like
yeah.
like when you're on TV, you're not a person. And people root for a marriage to fail on TV like they root for the Celtics to lose. And I'm going for the Lakers. And we look at it, and people look at it as if it's just a team and it's for play. And they don't really understand, like, oh, she's to leave him. I'd be happy when she leaves him. No one's really saying, I wonder if they're in their minds are saying, I'd be happy when the kids have to spend 1 week over here and 1 week over there, you
Right.
know?
Mm,
But I would say that, but even on television, I think one time we went to a little marriage counseling thing.
hmm
It was up in Tennessee, and they made this challenge, and all the couples were supposed to had this challenge where they put a rope on your foot. They tie a rope to your ankle, and they wanted to see how couples can manage, how they can walk together. And so we watched, and they watched some couples. Lewis and Tiffany, they just got together. They couldn't. They kept falling. Reese and Kimmy, who everyone was probably thinking, this is the kind of love I want. Now I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they kept falling, and me and T tied the rope on there, and we're joking around because we're running around with the rope tied to our leg, and
This ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. We
it's
just
nothing. It's nothing. But for me, that was a pivotal moment because it's one of those times where you look at it and say, hey, you know, what I did worked. What I did worked. I knew this would work. I had faith in this when all else doubted me. And in a situation, this was not proof to them. This was confirmation, hey, we're on the right path. Because the truth is the reason why it was easy for us is because we run together.
Mhm.
Because when we're on vacation, we run together. And if we want to continue the conversation, I've got to slower my pace because I've got longer legs. So we already know that. And then after we get on the same rhythm, hey, we were walking the other day and we was like, man, look at that. Our feet are on the exact same when we were walking on the movie the other day. Yeah.
Aww,
So it was a cheat, but
that's
we had
so
been together for some
beautiful.
years.
Y'all
Yeah.
wasn't even meaning to do it. Just
Right, it just
love it in
happened.
step.
We
Just
already knew how to win that game.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, since you're talking about being tied together, Marcel,
Hmm.
so how do you guys, because you are tied together in the business and the marriage and with the reality TV show, how do you guys maintain your independence and individuality while you still kind of nurture the relationship as a couple, but still like, I still got to have my Tish, I'm looking at you. I still got
Mhm.
to be Tish. I still got to have my independence. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. And Marcel, no matter how great of a husband he is, can't understand what it means to live in this wife mother shoes and being a woman right now, especially. And I'm sure, Marcel, you feel the same way. There's no way she can understand being a black man in America right now. As much as I can tell her about it, she doesn't walk in these shoes. How do you guys maintain your individuality, your independence, but still like have your bond and still have that safety area for the relationship?
You go first.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think we compartmentalize really well. That's
Mhm.
I mean, one thing I do, and I would say that probably one of my strengths is that I compartmentalize. Like I know where my jurisdiction ends and I know where others begin. And it seems
Mhm.
as though like I'm very particular about how I want things and
Mhm.
how I'm going to do things. One of the fortunate things about me in business is that I studied business in college. I owned my own business when I was in college, and was successful at that. In that, but I've also been an employee of large companies, been an employee of startup companies. I've been the manager of different things, so I've experienced business on a lot of different levels, and so I can be a very good employee. I'm the kind of person that likes communication clear, respectful, and factual to the point where you can come in and say, hey, this is what you didn't do, this is what you did, this is what I'm expecting, let's get this done. You know? And if it's logical and it meets the expectations of what I'm supposed to do, then I just fall in line and do it. So with that being said, it's like for me, that's the easy part, compartmentalizing. When teacher texts, hey, can you send me the blueprints for this right here? Hey, hey, did you follow up with this person right here? Hey, did you get this right here? We do have our challenges when it's poor communication, but across the board, I mean, I write a rent check to her every month.
So it's
Yeah, Black. So we own the strip center that we're in, and Black writes a rent check to
infinity
Infinity
property.
Properties, and Scope
Mhm.
writes a rent check to Infinity Properties.
Yeah.
So these are things that I mean, when I say hands down, I can compartmentalize and put things in the right order. No, that's a teacher, and even when inside the business, they'll tell me all day. If it's a manager, I'll say no. That's a GM question. That's this question because I don't even want nothing more on me than I can handle. So no, that's a teacher
Right.
question.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really good when you have everybody have their different roles that they play in within the business in different areas because you don't have to know everything. And so for me, although we have these businesses and I tell people all the time, Marcel is more hands-on with them than I am because I always say, I'm a mom first. And so
Mhm.
I like to make sure that I am very involved with the kids, very involved with their schools. I'm I told him the other day, I was like, I'd rather go eat lunch with my daughter than go to the baker's meeting. So it is just because we're a team, we can bounce those different things off one
Yeah,
another. Where I'm not able to show up, he's able to show up, and so that's a good thing there. Um, and then also, I have to take time out for myself. Like, yes, I'm a mom. Yes, I'm a wife, but I'm also a friend. I like to hang out with my girlfriends. And so I always make sure I plan these trips once a year, one for the family, one with me and my husband, and one with me and my girlfriends.
hmm
So you have to make sure you're getting all that time in.
that's right. I like that. I like that. All right. So you guys talked a little bit about the individuality piece, talked about the togetherness. One thing I like to talk a little bit about is as you guys are building this dynasty, and I love that it's multi, faceted. You have the construction thing, you have the black, you have the nonprofit, which we're going to talk about the nonprofit, by the way, before I let you guys go. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about, are you guys able to start exposing the kids, bringing the kids into the fold? Like you're building this dynasty. And, one thing I don't know that we do in our community enough is expose our children to, like, as we're building wealth, kind of the tools, how you manage a business, passing down generational wealth, because we haven't been exposed to generations of wealth to pass it
Mm-hmm.
down. But we try to be more mindful about that in our household. Just want to hear a little bit about how are you guys able to start exposing them? I know they're young, but what's your thoughts on how you guys build the dynasty and help them understand managing and minding the dynasty so that you can transfer over the wealth and also give them that, business mindset?
Yeah. So we have our oldest son is 17 and we have two younger daughters. And so of course, because we're entrepreneurs, we're always talking about the different steps in entrepreneurship and just talking to our kids about that. But not only that, I started a business with my two daughters, Mason and Mila. They have their own LLC and they have a hairline. Because I try to make it fun. Like although we're running a business, we're talking about business, I also want to make it fun for them. So as we're talking about the girls now, they're starting to do their own hair. They want to play in different products and take care of their own hair. And so I'm teaching them steps on how to properly take care of your hair. And I'm like, you know what? Let's start a hair care line. So not only I'm teaching them about how to properly take care of their hair, we're also talking about the ingredients. We went to the warehouse who actually made the hair care line. We talk about the marketing of the business, how to structure the business, how to balance the checking account within the business. My one daughter, my oldest daughter, she's all about how much money do we make? I want to, want to make some money. So we talk about, yes, your business made this amount of money. However, it's not for you yet. We're putting this money back into the business. Like we don't have money that you can spend. So try to break it down so that they can understand it, and we just really just try to expose them to what we're doing. They're in the field with us. When we go look at the house and when Marcel is talking to the contractors, they're there listening to us. And so yeah, I think that's a major part of what I do with them.
And I think another aspect of it is the SWOT analysis when you have to look at your kids. Because my oldest son, he simply doesn't want to be an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, no.
And the key thing is it's not that I'm not going to force entrepreneurialism on anyone. All
Yeah.
right. I'm not forcing him to be entrepreneurial, but one thing that I remember we were at the Black Business Expo last year, and Wall Street Chapter said is that you have to have a standard operating procedures for your family. So the issue is not about just how you acquire the wealth, but how you maintain the wealth and what does that mean and how do you operate as a family. So I told him, I said, even if you want to, honestly, I don't care if my son wants to work at Walgreens for the rest of his life, all right? Because he's going to be set up financially to have to be able to make that decision. And the requirements of him doing that say, listen, I don't care if you want to have a desk job, you want to do whatever, that's fine, but you're going to learn how to trade on the internet.
Yeah.
So he's taking the Wall Street Chapel class this summer because the goal is saying that even if you don't want to, I don't care if you don't want to do that. You're gonna know how to invest your money into this right here because the truth is entrepreneurialism looks different. You know, I remember my dad gave me a Rolex when I graduated college. I mean, that's the first gift. I mean, it's not like we're getting Rolexes, but he gave me a Rolex when I graduated college. His Rolex. He gave me his Rolex because I told him that's what I want, and he said, you can never leave a legacy if you don't start one. But I
Mm.
remember with that same Rolex,
Yeah.
me and Reese owned a pool company, and I'd have to pawn that Rolex to buy tools in the beginning of the summer just so I could, make it through, and then eventually get it back when I was finished when I turned a profit. So the point is that that's what entrepreneurialism looked like for me, but it doesn't have to look like that for our kids. Our kids they don't have to climb up the rough side of the mountain. They can enter business through real partnerships with, or they can buy existing businesses. They can be angel investors in existing business. They can come in and talk to the existing business how they're doing things. So entrepreneurialism is not always about you know getting a beeper and having people and some passing out cards at the gas station with tools in your hand. It looks different now, and so I think that when we talk about legacy and passing it down from generation to generation, it does not mean sweat equity inside of a place or having your own LLC or anything like that. If that's what we want to do, that's fine. But it also can be leveraging your skill set and some things that you learn how to manipulate the market or whatever it is to make sound investments.
Mm. Mm. Okay. I like it. All right. So for those, I don't know if you guys saw the first Marriage Business Monday. We had the Laytons on, and we had Ronnie and Shamari DeVoe.
Mhm.
And that was fun. And one of the things they talked about was kind of going through their struggles and deciding to get counseling. And one of the things that she mentioned was, Ronnie saying, as a black man, I'm not about to be, doing this and this and this, having somebody come and tell me what to do in my marriage. And so as we're looking at, as I look at you, Marsau, are there times when it does get tough? Because you guys, God, Lord knows you're managing a lot. I mean, to be managing all
Mhm.
the businesses, the nonprofits. Teach, I didn't even know about the hair care line. My God, that's a whole
Yeah.
nother one that I didn't even know about. To be managing all that and the marriage, there has to be tough times when it gets tough. And the whole, I didn't even throw in the reality TV show and all the mess, the comments, to your point, people talking about stuff that they only know a smidget about and not
Mhm.
even a full picture.
Mhm.
Um, do you guys have like a safety, a go-to for, who you guys can have safe conversations with when you guys don't agree? Or do you consistently get some type of counseling or support? Or do you just kind of, because I asked them, do they have consistency like in their therapy and counseling sessions, or they call it a relationship coach? Or
Mm-hmm.
do they just kind of, when they need triage, when they're feeling like we can't do this on our own anymore, we bring them in? So is there a method that you guys use that helps you guys kind of keep stable and have a stabilized relationship, especially when things get tough?
No.
We need a marriage coach. We need a therapist. Like we really do. We really should have that. Because even within the family, like when I look through my family, it's not like couples or married couples in my family that I feel like I could even talk to get sound advice from.
Mhm.
So it's me and God. But no, we really, really need somebody.
I think that at times I have to look through other couples and kind of see their struggle and extract what we can from them. Um, I have a challenge when it comes to, you know, therapy or the therapist is that I simply don't. I can't accept direction from anyone who doesn't know where I'm at. Bottom line. All right. So if I
Yeah,
called
you
you,
sound like Ronnie DeVoe.
yeah, I mean I can't. I mean I can't. I
That's
cannot.
what he.
I give the analogy is that if I called you up and said, hey, I'm lost,
Hmm.
and you said make a right, and I'm like, you don't know where I'm at. You don't see the world through my eyes. And if you start asking me questions and saying, okay, all right, where are you trying to get to? All right, what's on your right hand side? Well, I see a Chick-fil-A and I see a bank on the left. Okay, you're on a university? Yeah, the sign says this right here. So you asking more questions, you starting to see the world through my eyes. Now
Right.
you can say, make a right. And I have full confidence that you know where I'm at and that you can guide me to where you're at. But the second you come in, there's a lot of therapists that just want to have all the answers, right? That's one. And then the other one is it's a little more challenging as far as a marriage is that, and maybe this is what men feel like, all right? And I'm not saying I feel this way, but maybe men feel this way. They feel like, I'll be doggone if my wife won't listen to me communicate regular words, and we got to go listen to another therapist tell her the exact same thing I just said. So, you know, it's like before we start going through the extra stuff, let's just strengthen the communication. And after we feel that the communication is being effective and I'm being heard and I'm listening to you and things like that, then maybe we can take it to the next level of getting a third party involved.
Yeah. Well, I will say the Laytons, one thing I really liked about hearing kind of Ronnie and Shamari's story and getting support from the Laytons, and now they're still their coaches. They still coach them.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I heard was they do this like 3-step approach that I love. And it was, he said it was his name is Martez.
Mm-hmm.
Martez said they have it's the comforter, the counselor, the coach. That's the method. So first you have to go have the comforter, which, if you're Christians, that's, Christ, you get comforted, you have to get healing first. So that's the
Mhm.
comforter, right? Then the second part is the counseling. Now you have some, like we all went to college, so you have theory. The book
Mm-hmm.
says this. Here is the information. This is the data. This is the intelligence. And that's wonderful to get the counsel. But now, what's the application of that look like? Because we go to school, we see the books, but like teach, when you went for the development and all that, but when you start doing the actual
Word.
work
Yeah.
and you start writing them contracts and doing the deals and stuff, now
It's
you're like,
different.
okay, this is the application. And there's so much learning that even takes place in the
Right.
application that
Much
the book
more.
didn't teach
Yes.
you.
Much
The
more.
book,
Yes.
the book gave you the theory, but
Right.
when you got to the real
Much
life,
more.
you saw this, you was like, oh, they ain't tell me about this kind of, I ain't gonna know this was
Mm-hmm.
gonna be part of the negotiation. I didn't know this was gonna be a conflict. So it's like that's the coaching. That's the part that says, okay, you in the game now. Here's the real life application of that. Oh, yeah, the book didn't teach you about this kind of, this barrier, or that this site had this issue going on with it.
Right.
So let me
Hmm.
let me give you real life coaching on that. And I love that, because I was like, I've gone to counseling. We've gone to counseling, my husband and I, and I love the 3-step approach. Like, okay, first you got to heal, then you get the theory, you get the whole intelligence, the information. Now you get the application through the coaching, and that's what the coach does. And so they said they kind of just check in with them as coaches that hit their husband and wife team every 6 months. And I love that. I was like, that
I
is
like
super
that.
great. That's just
Yeah.
so you just every once in a while have a 6-month check-in call just to be, oh yeah, we're good, we're still great, coach, thank you. Or no, this is one thing that we saw come up. How would you counsel us through that? Or how would you coach us through that? What, would you change the play?
Yeah.
Real life, I need to change the play. This play
Hmm.
is not working.
Right. Right.
So I love that. And so definitely the Laytons were just highly recommended after that session when we talked with Ronnie and Shamari. And they said that they've been connected to them for 14 years or so now.
Yeah, when we did the walk, the marriage walk, I
Yeah.
was like, they seem like a really good couple, and I like the vibe and everything. You have to find that connection too when you're looking for a relationship coach or therapy. Like you really have to find the right connection for you and your spouse. So
Yeah, I think I definitely, rather than see a therapist, I definitely rather see a couple in
mhm.
therapy. Just because hands down, I mean, this guy can tell you about all of this stuff, and I can look at his wife. I remember we were talking to Dr. Francis,
Yeah.
and one see this is one example of extraction. I asked him, I said, hey, he's like, well, in marriage you have fires and you got to put out fires. I'm like, man, don't talk to me about fires unless they're real fires. I'm saying, what is a fire that you're dealing with now? And I wasn't being a jerk. I'm just trying to find out, what are you at 40 years dealing with? And
Hmm.
she said, in a very transparent moment, she said time.
Hmm.
And she said time. And immediately you said, wow, me and Tisha are dealing with the exact same thing.
Hmm.
We're dealing with the exact same thing, which is time. And
Hmm.
it helped me understand that time is not a problem you solve, it's a problem you manage.
Mm.
It's
Hmm.
something, so there are things, so we understand certain things. Hey, garbage goes out on Thursday.
Hmm.
That's a problem you solve, right? We need X, we need X. These are problems you solve. But when it comes down to things that you manage, your time, your affection, your what you intake, all these different, your money. These are things that you have to manage. Meaning just like driving, you can't drive straight for 90% of the road and say, you know what, I'm gonna take this last 10% off. You know, if
Right.
it's something in your hand, that's always be on the wheel. And so when it comes to time, when it comes to certain things in your marriage, you have to always have under control, and you have to always be managing.
That's right. Always be managing. Okay. Always be managing. I like that. All right. I have to ask you that this before we leave, guys, because you guys, we talked about the businesses, we talked about bringing the kids into the businesses, we talked about keeping the marriage good by, investing in it and having a strategy and even getting, coaching if we need it. So one thing I like to ask you is, as we think about this dynasty that you guys are building, and just know this before I ask this last question, because you guys are an example. I mean, you guys are, people look to you, and people can say a lot of negative things if they want to,
Mhm.
but you guys are building a dynasty, and a lot of people look to you as a source of strength, as a source of experience, as a source of doing it. You guys are doing it, and maybe I'm sure there are days when they get tough, when it's
Yes.
tough and it's hard. And on the tough days, you guys are somehow still managing it through. And I'm covering it and praying for you guys because I want to see you guys win. And there are so many people that want to see you guys win, even though you hear from the ones who don't want to see you win the most because they the loudest, they the squeaky wheel. But there's the quiet ones that just pray and cover you guys that you probably don't ever hear from us. But we want to see you win. And just like when I was with Ronnie and Shamari and the Laytons, we talked about, unfortunately, we, the ones who win, don't get enough airplay because they like the messy, because they want us to think that we're losing in our community. They
Mhm.
want to think that we can't make it, but we are making it, and you guys are making it, and you're a source of strength. And even on the tough days, I want you guys to know that there are people covering y'all and wanting to see y'all win, want to see y'all grow them businesses, want to see y'all build that dynasty. And as you're leaving this legacy behind, talk a little bit about this nonprofit and what when Marsau and Tisha are no longer here and the kids are here and all the things are documented. There is some good about the reality TV show, even though they
Yeah.
show the messiness. There are some lessons learned, I bet. There's some documented things for your family that the kids will see. There's, they have the negative, sure, but there's some documented things that I bet even for you guys to look back and say, we learned some things. Our kids are learning some things. They're seeing, they're documenting some of this. When you guys think about the legacy that you guys will leave behind when Tisha and Marcel are no longer here, I know you guys have the nonprofit. Talk about the legacy that you guys are leaving behind, the things that you're working on to leave behind that will outlive you guys.
I feel like that's your thing.
No, sorry. I think
Oh, okay. So when we think about the nonprofit and the things that we want to do with that, it's just about, honestly, I always felt like when God bless you, you bless others. And so to me, that's what it was all about. What we want to do with giving back to the community and being a staple in the community to leave that footprint behind,
Mm.
to show our kids that anything is possible. Like from where we came from, how we grew up, if my parents was able to overcome those things and do what they're doing right now within their lifetime, only imagine what the kids can do following behind our footsteps.
Exactly.
So that to me is what it's mostly about.
yeah. I
Wow.
think that I think that the legacy for us as builders of things, of buildings, of people, of wealth, of a legacy, so to speak. Um, I think the goal is for us in our community to understand that we can do exactly what we want to do, the way we want to do it, and we have that right, and we have that ability, and we have everything we need. So the challenge is exposing ourselves and our community to do it like we want to, do it, be dope at it, and building our community. Like this whole show was built on this whole idea of comeback, you
Mm.
know, and the comeback. It's very simple. The number one goal in the hood is to get out the hood, but if the good is always leaving, then it's only bad and average left. And sure, we come back as celebrities, and sure, we come back as influencers, but we don't live and breathe the same air in the community. And I believe that we have a singular problem in United States with Black or Negroville USA, and the best is yet to leave.
Mm,
And so we're calling to come back, but what would they come back to? And
mm,
so that's why I built but that's why we bought a shopping center that was a thrift store and looked terrible, and we built it in the black. And now we have different people from different, economic backgrounds chilling in the same room. And that's why we're building this contemporary residential home in the middle of a neighborhood. And someone says, "Do you think you're gonna get the value out of the house?" No, I don't think I'm gonna get the value out of the house. But I do think that by building this 4,600 square foot, 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom contemporary house in the middle of this neighborhood, it's gonna get everybody in that neighborhood a boost in their home values. And if I build a
mm.
couple more, then
Yes.
through principle, I can lift the value. And so I want people to look at that. And I think that God made us a light for a brief moment in time, put us on TV. He made us influential. And I think that we have two choices. We can say, "Look at me," or we can illuminate the way. And
Mm,
so I really want people to kind of look at us and say, "Man, if he could do it, I know I can do it."
Yeah.
You
mm-hmm.
know? So I think that's the goal. I think the goal is to have my funeral in an arena because I impacted the
Amen.
community.
All right now, Marsau.
Yeah.
In the arena. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you know what? I just want you guys to know, like, again, thank you guys. We don't get to hear and see this part of it on the show, because, you know, they want to highlight that one bad moment in the day so that they can get them reviews and those ratings. But what we want to highlight is the fact that you guys are winning in this marriage, you're winning in the business, you're winning in your community, you're leaving a legacy and you're building a dynasty for your children, your community. You guys are doing phenomenal things, and we don't get to see all that when we watch reality TV because, you know, but this right here, this
Yeah.
conversation right here is going to save somebody. This right here is going to
Yeah.
give another couple faith and hope that they too can build not just a healthy marriage, but they can also build a successful business, make their
Mhm.
community better, and do it while they're trying to save and keep their marriage going and keep their marriage thriving. And more importantly than just the marriage, it's giving the kids a blueprint because I think you said it, Marcel, just now, but I know on our last one with Ronnie and Shamari, they said neither one of their parents stayed married. They didn't have a blueprint.
Mm-mm.
For me and my husband, we didn't have a blueprint, and so what we're doing now, if we save our marriages and we win in our marriages, we're giving our children a blueprint. We're doing more than just
Yeah.
building a dynasty financially. That we're gonna transfer wealth.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
kids gonna be all right.
Yeah,
They
they're gonna
live
be all right. We got
they
that.
live in these different gated communities, go to private schools. They're different than us. We're
Yeah.
gonna give them that, but what we really want to more importantly give them is a blueprint for a healthy marriage, so that we can have other legacies, transfer not just wealth. We got to
Yeah.
transfer
Yeah.
blueprints.
And
So
the
I
key
love that.
is,
Thank y'all so much.
I will say one thing. The key is that I learned this when my son was I want to say about 6. Is that we spend so much time. We grew up dirt poor, right? Tisha grew up poor, and so we spend so much time giving our kids what we didn't have,
Mm,
and make the mistake of forgetting to give them what we did have.
mm,
And that knowledge, that intuition, that scholarship, the understanding that using knowledge in all its facets to guide them through the calm pumps of inevitable.
wow.
Understanding that a dime is thinner than a penny. Because if you have to undo a light switch, you know, you can use a dime as a screwdriver, but you can't use a penny. Just the little small things in life that guide us through and we know and we just hold on to as value. And so the same thing that, I mean, we can't replicate gravity. We're not going to be able to replicate poverty to give them the struggle, but we
Right.
can give them the confidence. We can give them the desire. And even though if they don't have the opposing force, maybe we can give them the compelling force.
Yes. Amen. I love it.
And we
Preach,
want to
Marcel.
thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you
sharing your
guys.
platform
I
with
uh,
us.
I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys. Hey, where can our viewers find you and follow you guys? Tish, where can they find you and keep up with you and what's going on with you?
Okay, I'm LaTisha Moore Scott across the board, across everything on all social media platforms. LaTisha Moore Scott.
Okay.
And I'm either
And
Marsau Scott or Marsau_S. But if
Marcel.
you type in Marsau Marsau, you're gonna find me. There
Okay. And
aren't
they
two
can
of me.
always watch you guys too
On every
on.
Saturday. Every
Awesome.
Saturday, Love Marriage Huntsville. So
So make sure y'all catch them on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and make sure you catch them on all socials. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I have so enjoyed you, and I'm going to continue to cover you guys and keep building your dynasty. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. A pleasure.
Bye bye.
Thank
It was
you.
great.
Bye.